So I don't know. Anyway, we have an hour. They let me do an hour today, so yay! So I really wanted to do this, and so we can talk everything fried rice, whatever your questions are. And just like last week, the point is about flavors, building your flavors. That's why I wasn't specific about what kind of rice to use, because I feel like if you want to use brown rice, if you want to use jasmine rice, if you want to use parboiled rice, whatever you want to use, it's fine. We're not really talking about the kind of rice, although I do have my favorites, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit about that. But it's really about just building the flavor so that it tastes like what you want it to taste like. So if you're healthy and even if you want to do quinoa, you can do quinoa with this. You can actually do this with like couscous, although that's still starch because it's tiny pasta anyway. So, but whatever your grain is that you want to use, doesn't matter. You just want to build the flavor. So I want to do kind of traditional style Guyanese or West Indian style Chinese, because we kind of make it a similar way anyway. But I also wanted to teach you guys something, different, so that you can switch your game up. Having a dinner party, if they come, Saturday night in September, you have the West Indian style, and then if they come again, you can switch it up, because they'll be like, oh, she knows. Yes. So that's the whole point. So we're going to do a Vietnamese style fried rice, which actually also, it's funny how you learn about your culture, right? Because that's similar to a Guyanese style, what we call a laptong fried rice. And really it's just a smoke. Laptong means smoked in Chinese. So it's really just a smoked sausage. And so they have a similar sausage in Vietnamese culture where it's a smoked sausage. And so we're just going to use that. So it's similar, but that one is actually easier. But I'm going to start with the Guyanese Chinese fried rice, or West Indian style, because they make it in Trinidad. All countries have some kind of fried rice that we do that's Chinese inspired. So I'm using diced chicken breasts for the first one. So I put the pan on to get it hot, and feel free to jump in with your questions. So for this, I'm going to put just about a tablespoon of oil on the pan, because I just want it to coat the bottom. I'm going to let that sit for 2 seconds. And for this one, I'm not salting the chicken. I didn't add anything to the chicken. I know, West Indians, oh my God, you didn't season your meat. There's going to be so much flavor in... Ooh, I'm going rogue. But there's going to be so much flavor in this that I'm not really worried about the chicken not being marinated. The other thing is, because I'm using chicken breast that's going to cook so quickly, it's gonna get the flavor as we go along. I don't need to be worried about that. If I were doing larger bits of chicken, like chicken thighs or something like that, then I would probably marinate. I would probably hold off on the salt, but I'd add everything else, like a little bit of garlic, maybe onion powder, and a little bit of oil to it, just for it to start getting some flavor. But the chicken breast, I'm not really worried about. So my pan is hot, I believe. And I'm just going to add this. And I hear a little sizzle, so it's not really hot, but we're going to pretend it's blazing. So I'm going to let that go on high. And I have this, but I'm using the hot plate. So my high here is literally like maybe a medium low on the burner. So I have to wait till it gets going. So as soon as this starts to brown, then I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle a little garlic on it. So I'm going to do that now. And I'm going to use about a tablespoon of garlic. So 1 and 2.
Is that just minced garlic?
Yep.
Chopped up garlic?
So I usually chop my garlic. I'm sorry, not garlic. What am I saying? Ginger. This is minced ginger, not garlic.
Oh,
Yeah.
ginger. Okay.
Okay, so this is the ginger, and then I'm gonna add my diced onions. So I'm starting to build my.
You don't like ginger,
Huh?
so you don't like ginger. I remember.
I like the flavor of the background of ginger. I don't like in your face ginger.
Overpowering.
You know what I mean? So yeah. But oh, look at you remembering. Oh, I feel so special. But yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a stir. I'd like this to be hotter, but we're gonna work with what we have. And so actually, while this is going, what I want to do is I want to start treating my rice, because the same like last week, we're going to do a similar thing now where we're going to start building the flavor from the rice. So I actually didn't do a bowl. 1 second. All right, so I'm going to use this bowl. And I have a bunch of, if you saw me use the chicken, I have a bunch different ones. So don't worry, I'm not cross-contaminating and poisoning my family. So I used basmati rice, right? Because it gives me a loose texture every single, it makes the best fried rice, okay? The best fried rice, basmati rice. So that's what I'm using, because it's always loose, it's always flavorful, it takes flavor very easily and quickly, and it cooks really, really quickly. So I'm going to use that. All right. And so while my chicken is going, I'm going to start building the flavors here. Same like last week. Same thing with, I have clean hands, although with rice I don't like things sticking to my hands, so I'm going to try to use the spoon, but same thing. So while the chicken is going, I have my rice here. I'm going to take about a tablespoon of the sesame oil, and I'm going to squirt that over there. And then, also, yep.
That basmati rice is pre-cooked, right?
Yes, so I cooked this 1 part rice to 2 parts water. So I had about, how much did I cook? Maybe about 4 cups of rice. And so, correct. So then I added about 8 cups of water to soak it up.
Yeah.
Now, here's a tip though. If you're going to have this sitting out at an event or whatever, you want it to be a little firmer, just add maybe 1 cup less of water. And the rice will be a little more al dente. And then that'll work. So here we go.
Oh, the camera's gone. It's facing the wrong way. Somebody else.
Can you see me now?
Oh, yeah, oh, sorry, it was somebody else. Yeah.
Oh,
someone told me.
Aduni, take off your camera.
Oh, I don't know how to do that. All right.
No, you're fine now, I think. Can you guys still see me?
Yes. Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, perfect. All right, so what I went ahead and did is I added about a tablespoon of soy sauce to the rice. And I am also going to add about a teaspoon of brown sugar to the rice. This over here.
What does the sugar do?
So, it gives it a little sweet flavor. Not overly sweet, but the difference between like West Indian Chinese fried rice and the American style is our style has a little more spice and it's a little sweet. So, it kind of grounds the flavor together. So then I'm going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper.
So you've added black pepper, sesame oil,
Brown sugar, soy sauce.
and soy sauce.
Correct. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt to that. And then I'm going to combine this.
You adding all this before you put the heat for the rice.
Correct. So this is the cooked rice, right? And while I have the chicken cooking here, I am just starting to build my flavor with the rice. Now the other reason I do this is not just to build the flavor, but also with the soy sauce, it incorporates it better this way, rather than me adding the soy sauce to my pot and then adding the rice to it. So I get a better coating of the rice being a nice brown if I do it this way. So while that's going, I'm just working this in here, and I'll show you in a bit. So again, it's the same thing, starting to build the flavors. So instead of my rice sitting in a bowl doing nothing, waiting for me to saute all of this, it could be soaking up the flavors while it's waiting. So pretty much that's the whole point. So you get a deeper, richer flavor in your rice, rather than, you ever taste some fried rice or any kind of seasoned rice and it just tastes like the initial taste is good, but then
as the surface almost, but it's not been mixed thoroughly, and yeah, no, I've had that.
Correct. And then the rest of it is just like, when you really get into the rice, it's like, oh, okay. Some people will add salt to the rice when it's boiling to try to counteract that. But I find you don't need to do that, because the difference with rice and pasta is that pasta will not absorb all that salt. It will absorb flavor but not be salty. Rice will not do that. If you put too much salt in your rice water, you're going to end up with salty rice. So in order to just avoid all of that, I don't salt my rice, but I do it this way. I start building the flavor. So I've incorporated that, and I want to show you what I ended up with. So now I have this brown, you see what I'm saying? I have this brown, and if you've ever had West Indian fried rice, you know what's happening here, because it has that brown already. So the chicken is just about cooked. I'm going to add the diced carrots, because that's the most dense vegetable. So I'm going to add all of that. And I am also going to add, oh, I'm so proud of my garden. So this is bora from my garden, or long beans, right?
Nice.
So I'm going to add just about half cup of that. I added about a cup of the carrots. I'm going to give this a stir. And now this literally just needs about 3 minutes to cook through. And I'm going to go ahead and now season this with the taste. I'm going to add another 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt, because we're still building those flavors. I'm also going to add some brown sugar to this. So another teaspoon of brown sugar goes in here. So we put some in the rice to start marinating already. But then we're going to add another teaspoon here to get it going. And let that cook for a second. So now while that's going, I have the shredded cabbage right here. And it's really thinly shredded cabbage, because again, we're doing, show you? We're doing the same thing like last week. You want to build texture. So part of flavor is also creating dynamic texture, and part of creating texture is having various textures. So you'll see, I don't know if you watch, because I've been on a binge watching baking shows and cooking shows, and you know, we'll talk about if something is one texture, like it's all mush, there's no crunch to it. The same thing you want to have here. You don't want your crunch to be hard rice, but you want it to do that. So I'm going to add some shredded cabbage to my rice. I'm going to just add all of it. So that's like about a cup. And I'm going to mix that around. And at the same point, I'm going to add some chopped scallions. So this is just about maybe a tablespoon here. of chopped scallions. Because again, I want to create that texture. So I'm going to give this a stir. And this is what I'm talking about, being multi-purpose. While things are going, you're doing something else. So another maybe teaspoon of soy sauce to my chicken, because again, I want to build the flavor both sides. So we have that. And then what I'm going to go do ahead and do here is add another about half a tablespoon of oil to get that going from the bottom. And so, yes, because as it's dry, because I'm using chicken breast. If you were using chicken thighs or beef or even pork, you'd get more liquid from it.
Get some fat.
Chicken breast is dry, so you have to add the fat or you end up with that chewy, chalky.
Yeah.
We're not trying to do that. So this is pretty much almost done. I want to show you. See what we ended up with?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can, I'm going to let this go for another maybe a minute. But you can add to this, you can add corn. You can add bok choy instead. You can add any vegetable you'd like. But traditionally, it's...
I have a silly question.
Yeah, there's no silly questions.
What's the name of that pot? Is that like a wok you're using there to cook the chicken? Or?
So this is a Teflon sauce pot. So I only have one wok.
Okay.
And for the other fried rice, I need intense heat. So I save the wok for the other ones. So this is just simmering on low. But yeah, you can definitely use a wok on higher heat. All right, and so this is actually done. So since it's done, I have some diced tricolor peppers, sweet peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers, red peppers. I don't want to cook my peppers. I want to heat it through. So I wait until this is all done, its happy dance here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add my peppers. And so this is about half a cup of chopped peppers.
From your garden too?
Not from my garden. I'm growing ghost peppers. I'm growing the spicy stuff in the garden. So there we have it. It's done. Okay.
Lovely.
And then I'm going to pour this over to this.
Oh, you add the meat. Okay, so you add that to the rice rather than the rice to the pan. Okay.
Correct. So you can also do it that way. You can definitely add that to it and then cook it through and heat it through. But because my rice is already warm, it's not like the pasta from last week was cold.
Oh, it's not cold, yeah.
Correct. So this is already warm. I can do it this way. It wouldn't be wrong for you to add it to the pan and get all that goodness off of the bottom. But you just don't need to do it because we were already building the flavors here. So the rice is already flavored. We're just now adding the vegetables and giving everything a toss. And also it's faster and it's easier cleanup. So I keep telling you guys, I am all about shortcuts and tips and tricks. If I put the rice in the pan, then the bottom of the pan gets stuck rice. Then if you don't have a dishwasher, and even if you do have a dishwasher, it's harder to wash. So if I do it this way, it's easy. It's easier for me to clean up. If I plug this thing in the wash, it's easy to wash. There's nothing stuck on anything. And that's also why I say to add the extra oil to the pan to keep everything moving so nothing is stuck. So let me show you again. Look at my pan. You see that?
Oh, wow, yeah.
There's nothing stuck to my pans, and that's how I keep my pans clean as well, is I try to avoid having stuck food and you know, and then my pans.
Did you put some garlic in there, or did I miss that? Is there garlic in it?
I didn't put garlic in this one, but you can. And I didn't put garlic because the people that are eating it don't really like it strong, so. But you can. You can add, and you would add the garlic right when I added the onion. So you put the chicken in, let it start cooking. When you add your onion, let that go for a little bit, and then add your garlic and your ginger and that kind of stuff.
And the other bits, yeah. Okay, brilliant.
So,
Thanks.
and how fast was this? We are done. I'm going to garnish.
This is good too if you do multiple fried rice.
Correct.
Yeah, I like.
Correct. Yeah. We are done.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Finished.
Dinner idea for this week.
Right. Finished chicken fried rice is done. That's out of the way. And so now I bring out the bad boy. The wok.
Why? That's a serious wok.
Yes.
That's a huge wok. Yeah.
Yes. I play no games.
That's the American kitchens there. Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's American style for you.
You know what? So I was watching. You guys might have seen if you follow me on like Facebook or Instagram on my personal page. Hey, how are you? It's so good to see my old teammates. Everybody's in here. That's so nice. But if you've been, you follow me on @Tasting Queens or you're friends with me on Facebook, you know that I've been watching again the Great British Baking Show. So I've been baking and I've been binge watching. I've seen them all, but I'm watching it again. I learn something every time, and nobody knows everything. And I'm always open to learning and new techniques. But there was one while I'm waiting for the pan to heat. There's one thing. This guy made this. It was supposed to be like they call it crème pâtissière, right? Which is pretty much just a cream-filled pastry, right? And one of his negatives from the judges was that it was too big. And when I saw him make it, I'm thinking that would be gone in like a bite and a half. But
yeah, we do delicate sizes, darling.
Well, I learned it from you too, right? When we went to Vegas. So
yeah.
And I'm just like, what do you mean that's too big? It's not big enough.
I'm like, oh my God, look at the size of that cookie.
I'm thinking, that's exactly what you said. Look at the size of that cookie.
I get my head around the portions. I'm like, this stuff is huge.
Oh my goodness. So, all right, the pan is hot. I'm going to go ahead with, again, the same tablespoon of oil. And here is the Vietnamese smoked sausage. So if you can't find Vietnamese smoked sausage, you can just use Chinese sausage. I wouldn't use any Spanish style sausage, although you can. If you use like a chorizo or something like that, you'd have to alter the flavors that you're adding.
Okay.
Because
so
you're gonna
look for more of a Chinese style sausage or something.
You want to look for a sweet sausage. So if you couldn't find any Asian sausage, then I would go with something like an Italian sweet sage sausage. You want to go with a sausage that is either smoked or sweet, or both. So this is smoked and sweet. So that's why we're using it. Okay, I'm going to put this one away. All right. And here we go, a hot pan. All right. So now this sausage is not, there's some sausages that are smoked and like they're partially cooked. This is not cooked. So this is a raw sausage, so I really want to get this cooked. So to this, I'm going to add the remainder of my ginger, which is about a teaspoon and a half that I have left there. So I'm just going to put all of it and give that a...
These sausages tend to be quite salty. Are they quite salty? Like a lot of salt in the sausage?
No. They're sweet. They're a lot more sweet and smoked. You'll see them say lapsang, and that just means that it's smoked. So I have some scallions left. I'm going to use half of my scallions now because I want to get some of the garlic flavor in there. I'm sorry, not onion flavor in there.
Onion.
Half a teaspoon of salt. And and 1 teaspoon of sugar. And I want to make sure for this that my fire is high, because I want this to I want the sugar to caramelize in here, and I want that to go. And if you notice, it's the same thing last week when we were talking about stir-fried noodles. Whereas the West Indian style, you can actually work that into work in your vegetables and meat into the noodle bowl itself. It doesn't really need the high heat. The other reason for that is our style chow mein, same thing, would stick to the pan if you're working with high heat, and then you have all of that little crust on your bottom. With this style of cooking, it needs the high heat because it infuses a different kind of flavor as well. So that's why you're going to see me use the wok for the traditional Asian dishes, because it imparts a totally different flavor, and you want to have that flavor when you're doing West Indian style Asian food. It's an adaptation, right? So it's our version of the original thing. But if I'm going to do the original thing, then I want to be able to honor tradition. So that's been going. I'm going to let you see the garlic and scallions and ginger. I'm not garlic. The scallions.
No garlic.
Yeah, right?
Garlic.
So this would be a great dish to add some garlic to. This sausage that I found actually has garlic and chives in it. So that's why I don't need to add anything extra. It already has that flavor. So since that's going, I have some broccoli here. You can use Chinese broccoli. You can again use bok choy. You can use snow peas, snap peas. You know, whatever vegetable you like, whatever Asian vegetable you like, this would be a good place to use it. And so the sausage is going to cook through pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and add, it's about a cup of chopped broccoli.
That's raw broccoli, isn't it?
Raw broccoli. Correct. That's why I'm adding it now, because I wanted to get a little bit of cooking on it. Just a little bit. And so while that's going, trying to clear up so I have space, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to add soy sauce to my rice. And for the same reason, I want it to start getting marinated, incorporated, but this rice I'm going to be adding to the wok. So, but I want to give this maybe a tablespoon this time of soy sauce. Or a tablespoon and a half, I would say. Okay? And to that, I'm using shredded carrots for this one. So I don't want to cook my shredded carrots. This is what's creating texture for this dish. So I'm going to add my shredded carrots. I'm probably going to add about half a cup of shredded carrots. And I'm also going to add about...
The carrots have like water, base water in it?
So I shredded fresh carrots, so it didn't have like extra, nothing to squeeze. But if you use like frozen carrots or anything like that, you want to thaw it, and then put it through a sieve and squeeze out that extra liquid. You don't want any extra liquid happening in here. Okay? So same thing, I'm going to give this a stir. Get it all incorporated. And I'm going to go ahead and add some sesame oil. About the same, about a tablespoon, because I want to get that going. Alright, so I'm just mixing this all together so it starts to go. So now, one of the differences between like a Vietnamese style fried rice and maybe a Thai fried rice or a Chinese fried rice is that I'm not using any eggs. There will be no scrambled eggs in this because it's typically not traditional to do that. So I don't want to do that. So I also have some sliced peppers, the same peppers that I use. This is about 1/4 cup. I'm now going to add that. I'm going to give this a stir. And so again, in cooking from this region, most fried rice will have, or most stir-fried dishes, I should say, even vegetable stir-fried dishes, will have some kind of seafood element to it. So it's usually fish sauce or shrimp paste. If you're allergic to shrimp paste, fish sauce is a good thing. It adds a dynamic part to the flavor. You don't taste it. It doesn't taste fishy. It doesn't smell fishy, but it adds another layer to the flavor. So that's why they do it. And as with last week, I have dried shrimp. So I just use that because it does the same thing. And literally it's about 1/2 teaspoon of dried shrimp that I'm going to add to this to start layering the flavor. So, and it smells amazing, this smoked sausage, like amazing. So I added the shrimp. I'm going to give this a stir. And so I'm also going to add here another tablespoon of the soy sauce. And to that, I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper, another 1/4 teaspoon. And because I didn't add any salt to my rice, I'm going to add another 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And also in preparation for this rice to come in, because I have about, I would say about 5 cups of rice over here. So out of the 4 cups of rice, because remember dried rice, right? It swells. So
that's true.
I ended up getting about 8 cups of rice from the 4 cups that I. So I'm going to add another tablespoon of oil. Same reason. I want to coat the bottom. I don't want anything sticking anywhere. The sausage is nice and cooked. The broccoli is al dente. It's not very cooked. I'm going to show you.
Lovely.
Okay. I'm going to show you guys here. And then I have that nice rich sauce. So now that my rice has been sitting down here with all that aromatics, I'm going to add it all here now. And really with this, you want your you want this to be as high as possible. But again, I'm using this at a hot surface, so it's not pushing enough heat. But you really want to have your wok on high for this so that that toasted flavor comes through with the rice. And the reason I said about adding the extra oil is going to help you, again, with cleanup. So,
is there cabbage in that rice? What's the green stuff in the rice?
So the green stuff, it's the broccoli. And then we added, about a teaspoon of cilantro already to it. Yes. Yeah. And then shredded carrots to this. Yeah. If you did cabbage, I would do like a Savoy cabbage or a Napa cabbage, something with little less density than a regular green head cabbage. Correct. And in that case, I would add it the same way like you did before. Add it to the rice and not to, because you don't want to cook it, because then you have this limp.
No, you want it for the
chewy cabbage. So now my pan has started to get really hot, and that's what I want. And that's pretty much it. So this is going to go off. And to the end of this, I'm going to add some chopped scallions and some more of the chopped cilantro. I'm going to add the rest of it now. Because with the herbs, right, if you cook herbs too much, you lose the flavor. So you really don't want to cook it too much, but I just want it heat through so it releases that aromatic oils into it. And so it smells amazing right now in here. And it's done, you guys. Literally, it's finished. So this is not something where you're cooking forever. Let me show you.
Oh, I could eat that now.
Okay. Let me show you guys.
Yummy.
And that's it. So really, really quickly, and again, you know, this is all about building the levels to your flavor. So I know a lot of people, usually you saute everything and then you add plain rice to it. I really, really want to ask you to try it this way, where you're putting levels to it. So while your stuff is going in the pan, whatever meat or vegetable or whatever you're sauteing to add to your rice, start to let that rice marinate in the soy sauce, the sugar, salt. Let that work. It's the same thing. You get so much more flavor if you do it that way. You really do. And then the grains taste amazing because they've been sitting there soaking up, you know.
I remember all of this. The only thing is, I'm trying to get a lot of this.
Yeah.
So, it'd be good if you have it recorded or you don't have it recorded. I just have to try and remember it.
Well, no, the good thing is,
you're going to have it on your Instagram, aren't you?
yeah, I have the live going here. And also this time, I remember to click record on this. So,
got it on this as well. Yay!
yeah, so let's see if it works. Oh, but the other thing I wanted to say, and I think I just forgot to put it on my list of prep, which bad me. But for the West Indian style fried rice, you can also add about a teaspoon of allspice or five spice. 5 spice, not allspice, different thing. Of 5 spice to it. And that adds a nice earthy flavor to it. Some people add allspice, some people don't. But you can. It definitely gives it another flavor. You won't really see that in traditional Asian fried rice. Very, very rarely will you see like an allspice or something like it's very, very rare that you'll see that. The flavors come from the sauces that they add, and that's why they do the fish sauce, which is a salty sea flavor type sauce. And then you'll see them add maybe some sugar, and then the soy sauce, which counteracts all of that. You know, they melt together to create. Correct. And then when you cook it on a wok, or even if you use a pan, just try to get as high a heat as possible so you get a nice kind of toasted flavor to it. So another trick you can do is you can take liquid smoke, like liquid hickory smoke, and maybe put about half a teaspoon, especially to your West Indian fried rice. It gives it that smoky type open fire kind of flavor, if you know what I mean. It's especially good too in like if you're doing cook-up rice. I don't know about you guys, but cook-up rice cooked on a coal pot, meaning a pot outside where, I don't know, your grandmother put the pot and she got the coals, and that smoky aroma, or even like a pilau or whatever with that smoky aroma, is totally different than the rice and peas cook-up pilau that you make on the stove. So, yeah. I mean, not many of us have the opportunity to like go outside and cook. So liquid smoke is like an amazing trick. If you add, and you're not adding a lot, just a little bit of liquid smoke gives it that a little bit of coal pot outdoor cooking type flavor, and it really, really, really works. So anything that calls for like a high heat wok, that's a trick that you can use that kind of gives it another, and that's a totally another dimension. And feel free to make this as spicy as you want. You saw last week I had my 5 pounds.
The chilies, yeah.
You can add your chilies to this, and you can customize it. This can be made with beef, pork, vegetarian, however you like it.
Did you put any sesame oil on the rice for this one?
I did. So when it was over here, after I added the broccoli, then I added about a tablespoon and a half of soy sauce, so a little bit of extra soy sauce. I added sesame oil, and yes, yes. And then I added the cilantro here and the shredded cabbage, and I let that go for a second. Yeah. So you definitely can do that. So this one, you definitely, especially with the vegetables, you can be very, very creative. You can add, you know, baby corn, And like I was saying, snap peas or snow peas or even, mushrooms. You can be very creative with this one. Because again, you're working with the flavor. So I usually just try to do, if I'm using something anyway, use the same a similar ingredient.
Yeah, similar ingredients. That makes sense.
Yeah, so that I'm not, my counter would be full of little
Running around with
bowls.
about 20 different bottles, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But any other questions you guys have? I think we have like another 10 minutes, or we can end it early. But if you have any other questions, or also, because while I have help, because guys, I'm a single mom with a toddler, and a full-time business with 77 products that I have to keep stocked. So while I have help, which my mom is visiting, and my niece, and they're like the most amazing help ever. This is the only reason I can do this, because right now he's upstairs with my mom and I don't have to worry, oh my God, where's my son? So while I have the time and I have the help, if you want to learn anything, now would be the time to say, hey, let's see, I would like to learn how to make XYZ. I can do at least, a video every weekend for maybe the next 2 weekends.
I tell you something. I really appreciate these videos.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
As a side note,
yeah,
I posted that picture last week of my curry that I made. Man,
yeah.
it took social media by storm.
Oh my gosh, this Starboy, I was proud of you. I was proud of you because you don't really see you posting a lot of food that you made, and so I was like, oh my gosh, like he really made this curry. And the curry, listen, I was up at 3 something this morning thinking about chicken curry. So
You can't beat chicken curry.
I was looking through my phone at pictures of chicken curry. Like, what in the world? So I was really proud of you, man. Good job. And I'm really, really happy you guys are liking the spice mixes.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm really pleased. I'm really, really pleased.
My curry powder is a winner, and also the jerk too.
Yeah.
The jerk marinade. The first time I did it, I put too much.
Yeah, because the one
It's very hot.
The TikTok is very hot. So the other ones, if it doesn't say hot, it's kind of mild. And so what I did is I used pepper combinations that hit the tongue in the front, and then it dissipates. So you'll get the heat, a little bit of heat, and then after about maybe 30 seconds, the heat will fade. So I was told, I
tend to prefer the more milder stuff.
See, so next time I will make sure you get just the regular TikTok or the regular pineapple jerk. The pineapple jerk is sweeter.
That's lovely. Yeah, go for the pineapple jerk, Stephen. That's the one that you should have gone for. Yeah.
Hiya, Dooney.
I prefer to add it.
Hi.
My sauce is finished, Shana. I gotta reorder.
Okay. Well, we have new stuff. I know you like to try your new things, so we have the new stuff, and I still have a couple, not a lot. I have a couple of the last sauces, and so I'm gonna leave them on the site until it's gone. So those are discounted. So now would be a good time to order those. And then also there's a 10% off, I believe. You subscribe. So once you subscribed or you joined the mobile site, when you go on the website, you'll see the code for the 10% off. So that would be a good time to get that done. So yeah, but thank you guys so much. And trust me, the feedback, it helps because it's a lot. And literally I sit and all I think about is, what could I do next? Ooh, what about this? And ooh, what about that? And so when you have, it's like a kid, right? And then you have it, and then if nobody likes your kid or says, oh, cute baby, you kind of feel a certain way.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Let's tell the truth. Even if you have a puppy or a cat and nobody likes it, you're like,
What's wrong with my cat? Why are you
exactly. So,
I hear you. try it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank
So when
you,
people like it, it's like, oh, that's so nice. It really is a really good feeling. Aduni's on Instagram saying hi.
I thought she was on Zoom as well.
I don't know. Aduni's everywhere, right, Aduni?
Yeah, I forgot you're on Instagram as well. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I try to do that. So if you couldn't make the Zoom, or some people don't want to download another app, then you're fine. All right. I don't know what's happening here. All right. Let me take this off. And we're just going to do it this way. So, yeah. So here we go. A better view.
Wow, nice.
Lovely.
Right? So that's done. And then to compare, that's...
Oh, yeah. This is the West Indian Caribbean one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the difference. Sorry, my tripod is acting crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. Please message me, DM me with what you'd like to learn. Oh, the audio's better. Well, there you go. Whichever one works. She says her audio is better over there, so that works.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, so DM me. I can do another 2. So think about, it can be baking too. So because I know
might be some baking stuff.
Huh?
Yeah.
Roti.
Exactly. You know me, roti. Roti,
Okay. So let me just say this as a disclaimer. I created the shortcut roti mixes because I don't like to make roti. Meaning that I also don't like that long process of you make the dough and then you got to oil the top and then you cover it and then you let it raise and then you got to come back and then you cut it and then you roll it flat and then you brush it with the oil and then you... So when I tell you I've been working on a roti mix in my head for about 10 years, I kid you not. I kept thinking, how can I get the same flavor, the same texture without doing all of this? Because what I did is my mother makes the roti. And so as I've gotten more and more independent, she still made the roti. Like I'd be like, all right, I'm bringing curry, so I'm gonna need some roti. But being so far away, I had to figure it out, and so I really, really started hard recipe testing on what can I do, and so that's why I have my shortcut roti mix. I ain't share that with y'all. But we could do some roti. We could definitely do some roti and see how that works, or anything else, because I also do shortcut baking and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just throwing it out there if it's possible. The pine tarts, because I can do them, but I want to see you do them your way.
Okay. Yeah.
That would be great.
And that's quick too.
Yeah.
That's quick.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. And anything else, just like I said, guys. Hi, guys. Hi, Javon. But yeah, just go ahead and DM me anything you want to learn, guys, on Instagram. Anything you want to learn. I can do this another 2 times before I can't guarantee what I could do.
I'm going to DM you an idea within the next couple of days. I just gotta...
Exactly.
I'm gonna think about it.
So message me later. That's fine. Message me later. If you want to know anything, that's fine. It can be baking, it could be fried stuff, whatever. I can do another 2, and so we can get that out the way, because I like to share. You guys know. I like to share. I do. I really do. I enjoy it. But thank you, everybody. Thank you guys on Instagram.
Thank you. This has been really... Now you made me hungry. I'm gonna have to go find
I'm sorry. I'm gonna pin this on Instagram so it's there. So if you want to play it again for the ingredients and recipe and stuff.
I'll play it back.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you, guys. See you later.